What's up, y'all? It's TJ with Fake It or Make It. I'm here again, believe it or not, to make another video which you may or may not watch. It's all the same to me. I enjoy the process, but I hope everybody's doing well today. In this video, I am going to be restoring a couple of old Carpenters Adze. Adze. I have two Carpenter Adze that I would like to restore. I had picked these up years and years ago, and I've pretty much forgotten about them. And while out in the pump shed, as I was running out of the pump shed screaming like a little girl because there was a harmless rat snake in there, I seen in the corner the 2-foot adze. So this is one of them. Very, very old. And this one here, which I found a lot of these online, but I didn't see a whole lot of these, and I'm wondering if this is more considered a shipbuilder's adze. This one has a pretty flat across profile, and this one's in really good shape. This one here's a little more beat up. It was probably used as a hoe, a grubbing hoe or something like that, and it has a blunt edge on it, but there's no cracks or anything, and I can't see any maker's marks. Now the handle, this old handle is broke, but it is still in good enough shape that I can get a really good template off of it to replicate this particular handle, because it does have a kind of a unique swing to it. And while I was doing a little bit of research this morning on these old adzes, that the adze has been around since the Egyptian times, except, you know, they maybe had a piece of bronze or copper or maybe a rock on the end of a stick, but the actual implementation of this particular tool has been the same forever. So it's a really ancient tool, and I think it's really fascinating. And honestly, I have absolutely no use for either one of these. The ones that I would probably have more use for would be the bowl adzes, the ones that are convex or concave, however you want to look at it. These are mostly for planing a surface down and making it smooth, i.e. if you was building a log cabin or hewing timbers down and making, you know, timber framing and stuff like that. That was also used extensively in railroad work on track ties and bridge ties, and a lot in bridge construction, because back in the day the timber bridges were all pretty much built by hand. I've actually have a little bit of experience in that. But anyway, I'm gonna shut up, hard as that is for me to do, stop rambling on, and let's get these adze restored. Adze. It's hotter than the inside of a well-done Hot Pocket out here. Gosh, man. So here's where we're at now. Of course, I didn't get all of the pitting out, and you could tell how crudely this thing was made, and I say that lovingly with affection because this thing is so old. You can see where they actually drove this, I guess that would be the swage for the handle through the eye here, and it bulged out this side, and it's just, I would assume that they cast it, then while it was hot they drove a swage through to make this square hole for the handle. And to keep from having to remove too much metal, I didn't go too crazy with the grinder. There's a lot of pitting still left on it, and that was, some of it was from rust and some of it was from the casting method, but I think it looks a lot better now. And really, I don't have everything that I need to go through all of the steps to get this thing perfectly pristine. Just so you kind of know where I went with it. First, I removed the bulk of the loose rust with this. Probably not necessary, but it made a lot of dust in the shop, so that's a good thing, right? Then a grinding disc, and then from the grinding disc I went to I call them tiger discs, but they're just basically a flap disc. And then from there I went with one of these. I found them on clearance in Walmart, so I pick them up when I see them. It's just an extra, calls it an extra coarse. It's like a Brillo pad with, or a Scotch-Brite pad with concrete mixed in it or something. And that's how I got to where I'm at now. It still has scratch marks in it. Not a big deal to me. What I'm probably going to do is I'm going to use some rust bluing that I got from Brownells, so we'll go through that whenever I get there. But for now, I want to try and work on sharpening this thing, or at least getting the bevel ground. And just from my best guesstimation, it seems like this thing is at 30 degrees. You really can't tell, you can't really get a good reading off of it because it's like this. Now, I am no expert when it comes to sharpening anything. Being pretty dull myself, it's hard to sharpen stuff. So I'm just going to use this bevel that's on it already. We'll use that as a guide, and I think I might try and grind it down a little bit and then refine it with the file. Not really sure, just gonna have to see how hard this is. And I'm probably not gonna reprofile it because it looks like it was there for a reason, so I'll just sharpen it as it is and see how it goes. It's taking forever. So now, this part looks a little rough. It's got a bunch of heavy scratches in it. I'll polish that out as I go. I'm just trying to figure out, I've got a pretty decent little micro bevel going on right now. It won't shave, but it will cut the hell out of you. It's just, the edge is just really not refined. But you can definitely tell it's starting to get sharp. I'm going to switch over to my diamond stone. I've got 400 on one side and 1000 on the other, and I'm just going to hold this in the vise or in my hand and just work across the bevel and see if I can get a better edge that way with this diamond stone. working on this for quite a while, and frankly I'm tired of it. I did get a nice sharp tiny little micro bevel on there. The next thing will be to actually try and work on a handle for this thing. I don't have any hickory laying around, but I do have a piece of white oak, and I'm pretty sure that will be good enough for now. Yeah, if you don't believe me this thing is sharp, I bet you wouldn't lick the end of it. I thought he was gonna say he's gonna use the stuff he got from Brownells. Well, I don't feel like wasting that stuff on that. Plus, this is already open. It's amazing how well this little cheap bluing, cold bluing works whenever you have a freshly polished surface. Oh, that's sharp. Yeah, I don't want to do that too many times. Now I'm going to take it outside, out to the water hose and rinse it off. So if you want to check out the video of my little tuka, my little foam oiler that I redone the other day, look up in the cards, and I'll leave a link up there in the cards so you can go check that video out. But in this little oiler I have some gun oil, and just gonna put a little bit on there and use some 4/0 steel wool and rub it in. Now, of course, some of the bluing is going to kind of come off a little bit, but it's not enough to matter. This just kind of evens out the finish and gets some of that streakiness out of it, and rubbing the oil into the finish, into the pores of the steel, will help further prevent rust. Just kind of going around. You don't have to get too crazy with it. It's not like we're making a display for the Smithsonian. You know, we're just doing a little project for ourselves because we love to DIY, right? That's the whole reason we do this, because we like to experiment and do stuff with our hands and get dirty. Figure out things on our own. Give some life to some old tools, some new life to some old tools. That's why we do this. It's fun, and it's good for the soul. Also, doesn't really cost a whole lot of money. I mean, you can find crap like this if you're looking all day long, man. You can find stuff like this everywhere. You just got to know what you're looking at, because there's probably 100 times you've seen something that you could restore or make a little project out of, and you didn't think twice about it because you either didn't know what it was, or you just didn't think about it like that, you know, in terms of, you know, doing a little resto on it. But, you know, if you keep your eyes peeled and just kind of have an idea what you want to work on, there's no reason why you can't do these little projects and have them turn out really cool. And even if you don't use something like this for nothing more than decoration, there's nothing wrong with that either. Hang these on the wall and they look really cool in a man cave or somebody's office or whatever. Hell, even your house. Just going to take and some tuka, some oil on it. Just rub it all around, get it nice. Have a nice little safety barrier of oil. Before I get to making the handle on this one, I do want to quickly go ahead and clean this one up, in which this one's not going to be that big of a deal. I'm probably just going to wire wheel the hell out of it. Get some of these nicks and these mushrooms out on the edges. There's not a whole lot here to have to correct. This one's in really good shape. So I'm probably going to do this off camera. And then when we come back, we'll talk about how this one went. And then we'll get into making a handle for these adze. This one will have to be pretty much from scratch. I'll have to measure this one out and just make it however I want. This one, I actually have this old one as a template and as a guide. So when we come back, we'll be working on a handle. Yeah, that's right. Handle time.